Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I'm going to be doing a brand new original tag created by my friend Lekden at Reading from the Depths. This is the Perfection of Reading tag. This is what Lekden had to say about the tag. The Tibetan Buddhist instruction to live a meaningful life is to try to live the life of a bodhisattva, a person or being who has totally dedicated their life to benefiting others. The six perfections, known as the pāramitās in Sanskrit, are six types of enlightened activity that make up the bodhisattva's conduct, which ordinary people are encouraged to try and realize in their own lives. The original book tag is celebrating those six perfections and exploring how they might be reflected in our reading lives. The prompts. In addition to answering each prompt, also recommend a book that you feel embodies that particular perfection as you understand it. It is okay if it is the same as your answer to the prompt. So I was tagged by Lekden. Thank you, Lekden, for tagging me on this new original tag, and I'm going to give it a go. Number 1, the perfection of generosity. What is an experience of either book gifting or book receiving that was meaningful or memorable for you? Well, I tend to get on a favorite book and then I gift it at every chance I get. So if you've watched my channel at all, you know that I've talked a great deal about Ronan Hession's novel, Leonard and Hungry Paul. This is my current book gift that I give to a lot of loved ones. Before this, I was giving Claire Keegan's Foster to many people that I care about. Another recent experience that I had with book gifting is something I have talked about on the channel. On many occasions, I have shown my original box set of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. And that was a gift that I received when I was a teenager. It was a Christmas gift that I think I got in 1973 from my oldest brother. And it's something that I had held on to all of these years. So, more than 50 years I had that box set. Well, I recently went to visit my nephew, that brother's son, and I gave him the box set, both for him to read, and he's now a father himself, and for him to share with his children, and that seemed like a really important gift for me to give, of a gift that had been given to me. And I think it had great meaning. Certainly, it always had meaning to me, and I know it had great meaning to my nephew as well, to receive something that his father had given to me. Okay, number 2, the perfection of ethical discipline. What are your best and worst reading habits? My best reading habits are my consistency and my dailiness. It's very rare for me to go a day without reading. I have to be really sick to not read at all. I'm very consistent. I'm consistent about when I read and how frequently I read. And I read very early in the morning. That's when I do my best reading. And I'm less attentive, and my attention span kind of decreases as the day goes on. But I also have a nighttime ritual where I read different books at night. So I always start my day off with reading, and I end my day with reading as well. If I have bad reading habits, it is that I am sometimes reading too many things at once, and I guess I spend too much money as well on books, and that's something I've done for my whole life. I'm certainly trying to buy more used books and to make better use of my library, but I do a lot of book shopping, and I spend a lot of money on books. Okay, number 3, The Perfection of Patience. What is a book that you anxiously waited for, and did it live up to the expectations you set for it? I anxiously awaited the publication of Percival Everett's novel, James. I had pre-ordered this, and it arrived the day of publication, and it absolutely 100% lived up to my expectations. And then this is another book that I've shared with many, many people in my book group, read it, and we also had a very powerful experience with it as well, but absolutely lived up to my expectations. Number 4, The Perfection of Joyful Effort. What is a book or series that you found difficult to complete but found to be ultimately worthwhile? I don't read a lot of series. I'm only now getting, sort of starting to read more science fiction and fantasy series. So I don't have a lot to draw on there. I am in the middle of a couple of series right now, but it's too soon to say that I'm certainly nothing I'm finding difficult. But I can certainly talk about books that I have read that I found difficult. I've talked many, many times on the channel about my rereading of Ulysses. I have now read this book in its entirety 3 times. It is a very difficult book. It is still a very difficult book, even having read it 3 times. I've read it at different times in my life, and each time it has presented me with a new set of difficulties, but it is certainly worthwhile when you get through it, when you get to the other side of it. And then most recently, I have read Joyce's Finnegan's Wake, a book that I said I would never read, and a book that I found it's perhaps the most difficult book I've ever read. I'm still having difficulty deciding what it's even about, besides a trip into the unconscious. But I had an incredibly immersive experience reading it with a group of people and reading a lot of ancillary texts along with it. I don't pretend to understand it, but it was absolutely a worthwhile experience and one that I will come back to again. Okay, number 5, The Perfection of Concentration. What do you do, if anything, to get in a reading zone? What is your ideal reading environment? Well, I don't think I have a reading zone, but I definitely do my best reading, my most attentive reading early in the morning. I am an early riser. I read for several hours before my day proper really begins, and I think that's part of my ideal reading environment. I do best reading either in my living room, on my couch, or at my dining room table, where I can also write and take notes. And then I have an evening ritual as well, where I read a little bit before I go to sleep. And that's something that's really important to my day too. So I begin and end my day for sure with reading. Number 6, The Perfection of Wisdom. What is a book where you learned something, especially something unexpected, whether profound or mundane? Well, I've talked a little bit on the channel about this reading event that I'm going to be participating in September that was created by my friend James at Quaint and Curious Volumes. And that is this reading event about the octopus, or cephalopods in general. And we're going to be reading both fiction and nonfiction in September that has to do with the octopus. Well, I've just gotten a little bit of a jump start on one of the pieces of nonfiction that I wanted to read. And this is a highly, highly acclaimed book. Everyone who has talked about this in my comments highly recommends this. This is Cy Montgomery's The Soul of an Octopus, a surprising exploration into the wonder of consciousness. And I've just started this, but I'm already absolutely struck by how fascinated I am by this species, and how different each octopus that is talked about in the book, how different each one is, but how they have these incredible personalities and a real consciousness. And I, while I guess I had that idea just from having read Shelby Van Pelt's novel last year, Remarkably Bright Creatures. That was also a novel, but this, to be reading this sort of documentary about cephalopods, this is called True Immersion Journalism. It's just really, really fascinating. I mean, I don't know that I thought a whole lot about the octopus before reading Shelby Van Pelt's novel, but they're certainly in my consciousness now, and that's just been really weird and wonderful. So then Lekden says that there isn't a prompt to tag others, but then he says, please tag others. So this is really thought-provoking, really a really interesting tag to do. And so if you're watching this and you would like to do this tag, I hope that you will consider yourself tagged. Lekden tagged a whole bunch of people. I'm going to do the same as I usually do. I'm going to tag a bunch of people in the notes below. But if you're watching and you want to jump in on this, please consider yourself tagged. So that's it for the perfection of reading original book tag. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.